United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. News. I left the house and I went people watching and I ended up with a really bad case of liberia. Liberia, it's a combination of the word liberal, even though they're not really liberal, they're communists. And the word diarrhea, of course, and well, that's how I felt after people because I went to Barnes and Nobles. You might remember Barnes and Nobles, maybe when you were younger. You went to Barnes and Nobles, you browsed around to see what's going on. Well, boy, do I have some things to show you because I wasn't intending on going to Barnes and Nobles to make a video. I wasn't planning on going to Barnes and Nobles to take photos. I was planning on people watching at Barnes and Nobles because every time I leave the house, it's a chance for me to people watch. And when I people watch, well, it always seems to exceed expectations. But this time, took it to a whole new level with the new species that we're living among. Of course, you can identify them all by their politics, but I have to show you the stuff being sold at Barnes & Nobles because this isn't like, hey, find like a Necronomicon at Barnes & Nobles and it's in the horror section. No. You have to see the real horror section, which is the children's section. I went through all the sections at Barnes & Nobles as I was looking around, watching the zombies on their phones with blue hair and lib glasses walk around, having no clue that they are literally living in a dystopian nightmare, thinking that they're free when they're not. And the hive mind was buzzing indeed. So I'm going to put this in order for people that don't really like to watch all of my videos. But I do recommend you get to the end because it gets funnier along the way. This was right in the section for children. You might remember Barnes & Nobles have like a kids section in the back. You know, they got all kids books. This is for like kids, not like 7-year. This is for like 1 to 2-year-olds, for parents to read their kids. And we know, and you should know, unless you're new to my channel, that the child at a very young age, their brain is absorbing every single second. It is being programmed like a brand new computer. So they really want to get this propaganda in early. And well, I've never seen it quite this early. Look what I found right away in the kids section. There it is. Who is Barack Obama? Who is Greta Thunberg? Now, I'll tell you who Barack Obama is. He's Barry Sortoro. Is that what's on the first page of the book? That's his real name. I'll tell you some other things about Barry that you might have found out on the Chicago night scene, because there's lots of books out there about Barry, right? But there's Greta Thunberg as well. So somebody wrote, this is what's scary about this, somebody wrote some books here for children. This is like for 1 to 3-year-old reading, right? They can't read yet, so their parents are reading them the propaganda and ingraining it in their heads. Greta Thunberg, the book. If you went into somebody's house, okay, and you saw these books, I mean, what would your response be? If you saw a parent with a kid, if you are out there, you have kids, you have young kids, it is so important right now more than ever to feed them the proper information, not the propaganda. And that proper information is called the Bible. You ingrain morals in them, you ingrain values in them, you ingrain truth in them. This type of stuff just creates a hive-minded zombie child, which is exactly what we're living amongst now. So the fact that these are books in the children's section, never seen this before. Can you imagine 20 years ago if there was just a book like this for a child on Ronald Reagan? People would be like, what? Who is buying that? They'd be like, what, are you kidding me? Right? George Bush Sr.? I mean, you'd open that up, you'd find a lot of skull and bones inside, among other things. But no, you wouldn't find that back then because they weren't really heavily trying to infiltrate children's minds like they are now. Now, that doesn't mean the school system wasn't corrupt. You aren't getting taught lie after lie after lie like we all have been. Yes, that's true. But we're talking about kids who can't even talk yet. This is what their parents are reading them. Lies about who Barack Obama is. Of course, they'll portray him as a savior and Greta Thunberg as a savior. I have to move on to some of the other stuff because there's too much to handle here for me to rant over and over about that. So then I go to right underneath it, what do we got? I look up to Michelle Obama, or should I say, I look up to Michael Obama, right? And I hope for the kids' sakes out there that this isn't a pop-up book, if you know what I mean. Because something might pop up inside this one, right? Even the nose kind of looks like, look at the nose there, kind of looks like something else, doesn't it? Can't go into more detail about that, but really ingraining the propaganda at a young age of these kids. They want them to learn about Michael Obama. Well, how do you tell the American public about Michael? There's lots of stuff they can learn about Michael, Maybe they can reference Joan Rivers' book, but too soon? Sorry. Let me continue on. This is where it gets even sicker. As sick as those things are, this is where my blood starts to boil, which is the witchcraft, Satanism, indoctrination. You got tarot for baby. That's right. Teaching children at this age about this type of garbage, teaching them about witchcraft. Of course, Christians are brain dead. I shouldn't say that, but a lot of Christians are brain dead. Let's put it that way, right? We all can agree with that. Not that any of us are perfect, but a lot of them are brain dead because they believe in tarot. They still go see mediums. They still go see psychics. They refuse to acknowledge where the Bible talks about it forbids Christians to get involved in these types of things. And then you have a store like Barnes & Noble's that indoctrinating kids with magic tarot reading right off the bat, right? So what are they going to be, little mediums? Get your kid ready to be a little psychic, summoning demons and spirits? Unbelievable. Now, of course, we have some of the other stuff which you kind of laughed at. I affirm the ABCs of inspiration for black kids. Then you have pink is for boys. I guess I was lied to my whole life. I was taught pink was for girls, and pink is for boys these days. And when everybody goes, what's going on in the world? Why is everybody depressed? What's going on? Well, because they're really scrambling people's brains, right? Then you got one, and I'm showing you one. This teaches all about oneness. Oneness is the Antichrist. The Antichrist comes in the name of one and love, which is why there's a million songs entitled One. Nobody goes, what's that about? What? Why is it called One? Why is John Lennon talking about the world will live as one? And people are like, that means that there's be no more problems anymore. There'll be big problems. Big problems, because you have the mark of the beast. There'll be big problems because you're worshiping the Antichrist. So you have big problems beyond the horizon for you, for eternity. Eternal torment. Or eternal torment, I should say. Tongue twisting myself as I rant. So, of course, in the one, you see what? The rainbow being used. And then we can flip right over to the KBCs, right? That's for the kids out there, you know? I mean, I get it. All the kids' stuff is propaganda, right? But, I mean, you're not even looking at books where you're like, okay, it's just like, you know, here's a couple animals on a farm, and it's telling you the ABCs where it's just normal and clean. It gets you at every angle. So instead of learning the ABCs, you can learn the gay BCs. But why do you need a book to learn the gay BCs? Just go to YouTube Trending. All right, we'll continue on here. Families can what? Oh, I won't even crack a joke, but of course you see the two men, lovely on the cover, right? Families can. Then you get Tap the Magic Tree, right? Tap the Magic Tree because they need more magic indoctrination. Then you get Yoga Bunny, right? I've warned about this. Nobody listens to me because I get people who comment. Well, maybe people will now a little bit more. But in the past, I've covered yoga over and over again. Aleister Crowley's book on yoga, the connection to yoga and opening doors, opening windows into your body for demon summoning, for possession. That's what it's about. But I get comments all the time. It's like, yoga has cured my back pain. It's like, okay, nobody said you can't stretch. Okay, the meditation and the yoga, this isn't a cold practice. This is why yoga has been normalized. Everything that's normalized and pushed down our throats is somehow tied into the occult. I constantly talked over the years about philanthropy. That's one of the number one things. It's not just to keep these people out of the public eye of scrutiny because they pretend to be philanthropists. So they're like, oh, they give to charity. They're not really doing any of these wicked satanic things these people say. It's also to turn people into philanthropists too. Their mindset as philanthropists, right? That's a communist. Is, oh, nobody owns anything, everybody shares, that kind of stuff. They're doing all this stuff over and over. Now you can't even go to the store without them asking you to donate. You know, they're like, do you want to donate a booger? Do you want to donate a penny? Can you donate? Can you round up? Right? You don't even know where it's going. People are like, I guess I better do this or I'm a horrible person. You don't even question where the money goes. God forbid they do that because their brains can't think. So you have Yoga Bunny. Back to this. So while I'm saying they're indoctrinating people with philanthropy, they're indoctrinating people with yoga, including young children. Yoga ties into occult practice, period. You can argue it all you want. You can love yoga all you want. I'm telling you the origins of it. Aleister Crowley has a book on it. It's, you know, everything Crowley is normalized. Not saying that you're demonically possessed if you do it, if you like to stretch. I'm just telling you, you can figure the rest out for yourself. Because remember, when I wake people up to this stuff, they get very, very angry. If it's something that they like to do, they defend it. Like if I mention video games, everybody gets mad at me about video games. Like, well, I'm not like those people. I don't dress up as a character and go to a convention and then grind on people to get my jollies off. You know, I just like to play. Okay, fine. Whatever makes you sleep better at night. I'm just telling you the facts. You can't deny Aleister Crowley's book. And you can't deny why they're normalizing it. They're not normalizing it because they want you to get a good stretch in because they care about your health, right? You say people want to get a certain something inside of your body. Yeah, they care so much about your health, don't they? So we can continue on here. I Am Strong, a little book about Rosa Parks, because that's what every infant wants to read about. So they're hitting kids with all these different things at a young age. The feminism, the racial injustice, getting them at a young age to make these kids completely, have an enemy right off the bat, which is a person of a different race. Right? Instead of looking at the true enemy here, the people publishing these books, the people running Barnes and Nobles, the people putting Barry Sartoro books on the shelves next to Greta Thunberg books. Then you get stuff like this, the Crayon's Book of Feelings. Oh, who is reading this to their kid? I mean, if you're a parent out there, are you reading the Crayon? Well, what are you talking about? Oh, you mean you want to weaken your kid at a very young age? The Crayon's Book of Feelings. Tell us all about your feelings, crayons. I mean, weakening a kid before a kid even knows how to pick its own nose. Let's be real. Telling them all about feelings. I mean, it's an utter joke what's going on here. Of course, it wouldn't be a kid section if we didn't have some of the book writers, the book publishers for children having a Taylor Swift book. Because everywhere I looked in that place, I saw Taylor Swift. And I am not kidding. There was Taylor Swift books all over the place, displayed. Then, of course, they have it in the kids section, a little kid book for the kids with a little heart, because love everyone. It's about love. It's about the Antichrist. So again, at a young age, I saw grown women, no joke. I don't know if they were women, about the size of Grimace, that big purple thing from McDonald's, but that's what a lot of these people look like, wearing Taylor Swift shirts. 40-year-old people, 30-year-old people wearing Taylor Swift shirts like kids. It's utterly embarrassing. It really is. I mean, people watching is at a new level for me. But I see that, I mean, it is way worse than it was. So then you move on. This is all still, I'm in the kids section here, taking these pictures. I mean, I thought I was going to run out of, being available. I didn't even use my phone to use somebody else's, but I thought I was going to, how much stuff can you have on display here? Then we have Wizardology. You can see it's displayed, Wizardology. The book of the Secrets of Merlin, right? And everyone's like, what's that? The Secrets of Merlin. The secrets are they worship the devil. It's not so secret. Then you got, of course, Egyptology. For kids. Again, this is in the kids section. So, might as well get them now. Eye of Horus. Get them with all of it, right? I mean, for kids, someone's going to get this to their kids. Next thing you know, they're Malay, and the rest is history, and they worship the devil. So, they're getting them young. You got the magic, the treehouse, right? Also in the children's section, the puppets of Spellhorst, right? And then, of course, it wouldn't be a kids section without a gigantic area for Harry Potter, even though the movie came out, 30 years ago? Is that normal? Right? So, no, it really was like 20-something years ago. That this stuff is still being pumped to kids. Of course, it's not normal. It's normal when they're trying to indoctrinate and, pretty much turn your children into little wizards and witches. That's the goal here. So that stuff is just, there's a whole wall section. So speaking of which, good transition, right? Witches. Can't get enough of this. If you want a good laugh, I was almost on the floor laughing. Self-transformation section, folks. That's right, there's a little area for the Bible right over there under religion, because they like to keep the Christian stuff under religion, so they might have a couple books for the youngsters on the Bible, not a whole section, and they definitely wouldn't put it in with all the other lib stuff. They give them a little tiny area for religion, and then they mix that in with Buddha and everything else, But then we have a big section here of self-transformation. Keyword, transformation is as in lots of things going on, right? I've covered the word transformation. That's what this is all about. This whole thing is a transformation. You've seen all the videos I've done. Well, not if you haven't, because I've pretty much lost my audience. But transformation is one of the big words of the occult. They always use transformation. Beyonce, Rihanna, transformation. They're indoctrinating with the transformation. They're talking about transforming human beings. This is about creating a new hybrid human. Okay, people are like, that sounds neat. That's why they're indoctrinating you with superheroes, etc. What's your superpower? Because they're mixing man and machine, the mixing of iron clay, which is biblical. So in the self-transformation section, I was rolling the floor, basic witches, and there were some witches nearby. And don't worry, I was openly mocking all these books as I looked at them to myself, and I was sniffing the air, and I could smell sulfur. What a surprise. So you have basic witches, so here you go, right? Basic witches. They don't exist though, folks, right? People always troll my channel, they're like, these witches are real. No, what are all these books for? Make-believe? Right? Is this for make-believe? 1,001 spells, not 101 Dalmatians 1001 spells. Is this make believe? Because see all those sigils on the cover? Those are all sigils I expose year in and year out. Right? Make new channel. I mean, I don't make new channels. Other people do. I don't know what you're talking about. But, the things they don't want you to know about. Because then when you see things like the All-Seeing Eye at the top, you start saying, wait, it's a book about spells. There's an eyeball. All these celebrities always put their hand over their eye. There's an eye in the dollar bill. Oh, a crescent moon. Oh, crescent moons. And, how about some of these sigils you wouldn't even be able to recognize? Well, they've been exposed. They just don't want you to know what it really means unless you're going to buy this book and spellcast. Then you're allowed to know because they're already going to assume you're a witch. But if you actually expose it, then you call for, a mass awakening so that, you can find out what these people really do, which is what I expose. Then we wouldn't be having debates about a left and a right. Okay, because people who practice this type of stuff, which they're indoctrinating people with left and right, well, they would stop it from happening. So this is what's being sold at Barnes & Noble. They're creating an army of witches and Satanists. They have a whole section on this stuff. 20 years ago, you would not have a section on this. Look at some of these books. The Way of the Witch, Spellcrafting, Green Witches, Enchantments. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Big Witch Energy, Inner Witch, Celtic Mysticism, Secret Medicines, Witching Year. This isn't a Halloween store, folks. This is a store that people go to quote-unquote get information. Books, yes, propaganda, but this is the information that they're getting. This is prominently displayed for people to lure young kids. Ooh, let me look into this. That's how it works. Gateways, shut it down. All this should be shut down. Why do you think I'm shut down from talking about this stuff? And the alt-right doesn't cover this. They don't go in and it's just like, yeah, let's smash the Baphomet statue. Oh, yeah, been there, done that. I've smashed the Baphomet statue. How about we start doing something about these businesses that are pumping this stuff out? You're only pointing a finger at Democrats, pointing a finger at the corporations. They're all in on it together. Republican, conservative, they're pumping this stuff out. And they're creating an army of witches and Satanists, and these kids don't even know. And even these adult libs don't know they're being herded into this. They're like, I'm being edgy. I'm different. You only feel these things. You only feel weird and different because they're convincing you that you are. They're telling you that you are. Have you ever woken up feeling this way? Yeah, we've all woken up feeling tired. Like, if you woke up feeling tired, you may be the opposite gender. Oh, and they're like, I might? Oh, I better look further into this. Next thing you know, they don't have a penis anymore. And they're like, what happened to my penis? I don't know what happened. Nobody knows. Forget about it. It's chaos. So anyway, let's continue. Let me catch my voice. He got Rebel Folklore. As soon as I saw this stuff, I had to do the recording. I'm like, I gotta get to a microphone before this passes. Because when it passes, then you're kind of like getting just angry. I mean, I'm angry, but I can't get over it. You got the Witches Yearbook. Oh, God, there's a pentagram, but that doesn't mean witchcraft. The star doesn't represent that. It represents the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, get with it. Can people get with it? Look at all the other books on here. I'm trying to get shots so I can show people. Look at this. All this stuff is just witchcraft crap. Right there, prominently. All these things are on display. Not even tucked away. It's on a table in the middle of the store. Spells to raise hell. Right? I mean, affirmations, tarot. Right? The radiant tarot. Right? Get your Egyptian god on there. Holding the key to the bottomless pit. Look at some of these other ridiculous books. Hocus Pocus gets mixed in, right? What do you think there's your gateway? Oh, tarot cards, tarots, and so then you got, Hocus Pocus, The Nightmare Before Christmas. So kids are like, oh, I was looking for Hocus Pocus because it's always, oh, tarot card. Oh, that's how you gateway them in. You lure them in with a little Disney magic. And by the way, a book I covered on the front of the video with Barry Obama and Thornburg. On the back of the book, they even had a biography on Walt Disney for kids. You can't make it up. So they have Hocus Pocus because they want kids to look for. Like, oh, it's over in that section. Oh, look all around tarot cards, real serious witch spell books, right? Magical self-care tarot. So they want the people and the kids, because kids are looking for Hocus Pocus, or adult kids. What's the difference? And then here's your gateway stuff into the next level of witchcraft and sorcery, right? Crystals, right in the section, by the way. How many people need to comment? And this is mainly women who comment. I love women, don't get me wrong. Best thing that's ever happened to men is women. But, I get comments from women all the time. They're like, you're wrong about crystals. There's nothing wrong with having crystals. Oh, no. Well, this is the witchcraft section, so here's some books on crystals. Crystalpedia. Don't worry about it, right next to the tarot books. They're like, there's nothing wrong with having crystals and energy in my home. No, there is. There is, so just get over it and get rid of it. That's all. Okay? That's all there is to it. If you want to openly participate in witchcraft, go ahead. I'm not judging how you live your life. I'm telling you what's going on. Okay? That's all anyone needs to know is just take a look at this stuff. It's not hard to see. And when they're labeled in the same sections together as well, I mean, do you really Mystical Forest, Crystals, Magic Self-Care, and Crystal Encyclopedia? These sound like the types of books that are not witchcraft? I mean, what, did somebody drop it off in the wrong section? Yeah, I guess so. So let me continue because the video's getting long. I don't want to put anyone to sleep. Okay, I know people don't like to go deep in the video. I mean, there's so much stuff. I had to stop doing this because I couldn't look any further. I didn't even go to the fiction or the non-fiction section. This is just, usually you go to a place with books, you're like, fiction, non-fiction, biographies, and really the fiction's in the biography, non-fiction section is pretty much inverted, but whatever. Stuff's just sitting out there like Tarot Made Easy, or teaching you a Tarot Journal, the Queens of Wands, teach us about wands, right? I mean, and then I just throw this in there because this is really summarizes the whole thing. I walk by and I see manga. I'm like, mangoes? They selling mangoes here? What the heck is manga? I'm like walking up to it, like, manga? It's got its own label on the top. There's fiction, non-fiction, religion, manga. Huh? What is manga? I walk up to it. Look at this. Not only is it a dork souffle of it is. There were this was the biggest section there was. Manga. Hey, want to hear this 10 years ago? What is this propaganda? You just look at it. Well, it's all anime. It's all avatars. You see the transition to the metaverse? What generations are going to transition you when you enslave you in your home and you're doing everything virtually? Because your new life, it could just be like manga, right? Whatever manga means, look at these books, death, and all these other things. Slime, right? This one book, Slime, caught my eye because I figured if I just looked at it, probably filled with stuff about the black goo, right? You got 13 majority. Just look at these the all-seeing eye symbolism all over these books, right? Of course, eye patches. What are they about? Pirates? Yeah, butt pirates. And what is this? What is the point? Why am I covering the manga? Well, first of all, you're adulting children more and more as you continue to weaken them. And this is what we're headed towards. Just giant children. That's all I saw inside of Barnes & Nobles. I'm not passing judgment. I'm telling you what my eyes saw, which don't deceive. I mean, women don't look like women anymore. Men don't look like men anymore. The only time you see people like this is if you do watch a true crime, like these types of people who just suddenly spaz and lose control because they're giant children who haven't matured yet, and they're hanging out in the manga section. Why is there a manga section? Nobody's like, hey, I'm going to head to Barnes & Noble. I'm going to go to the manga section. Nobody even knows what it means. Bring it up to your family over the holidays, if you wherever you are. If you see family, I'm sure you see family, whether you partake in the pagan ritual or not. Go, hey, anybody go to the manga section of Barnes & Nobles? They sell mangoes? No, manga! Manga? What the beep is manga? Nobody knows, apparently, but they're boomers. They don't get it. No, you don't get it. What they're doing to you, how they're indoctrinating you. These are adults who are looking at this and that's not cartoons, it's manga. Yeah. Now, let me guess, you're the same person who's 40, sleeping with dolls, wearing a Taylor Swift shirt, and then saying that people like me should be silenced so that we can all be slaves to the government. You are manufactured, and all the people I saw there were fully manufactured by the government. So this is what's going on at Barnes & Nobles, if anyone hasn't been there in a while. I have not been there in a while. I actually was just trying to get out. I like to people watch here and there. It used to be one of my favorite hobbies. It just gets harder and harder. But you can't even watch anyone because everyone's just looking at their phone. But anytime I go anywhere, grocery store, if I go to the dentist or something, everybody's just looking down on their phone. So this is a good opportunity because they're actually walking around. Barnes & Noble is always a great place for people to watch because you can just see what they're looking at, what sections they're in. You can see how they're dressed, et cetera, et cetera. You can just identify everything about them just by looking at them, right? You watch their behavior, all the same behavior, childish behavior. Right? Clothes they wear, their posture, their bodies. It's unbelievable. People are like, you're judging. I'm not judging. People watch. You can just study them like the same way we study animals at the zoo. And we're like, what's the giraffe doing today? Oh, let me guess. The giraffe's going to eat some leaves. Okay, well, same with these people. Only the giraffe is a lot smarter. It's incredible. It truly is incredible. The stuff they're pushing towards kids is beyond comprehension at this point. That we're in a society where we're okay with them. I mean, this isn't one witchcraft book where you can say, hey, you know what? All right, I'm talking thousands. I'm talking indoctrinating kids with Barry Obama, the gay ABCs, witchcraft this, witchcraft that, how to create spells, how to spellcast, tarot cards here, tarot cards there, Egyptian god worship, how to be a wizard. You know, if I was just doing this about the Harry Potter section, you've all been desensitized. We've all been desensitized to Harry Potter, right? Now we're desensitized to this because it's not a big deal to people. Right, the Harry Potter stuff, people are like, oh yeah, but it's been around forever, because they're desensitized, because that's how it works. Once you accept it, you allow it, time goes by, it just is part of society now. That's what Harry Potter is. Nobody has to go, is there a new Harry Potter movie? No. And why is there a huge section for Harry Potter? Well, because they want to make sure kids get in on the Harry Potter. Then they'll swap Harry Potter out, probably with Stranger Things, and they'll have their magic stuff in there, their Dungeons and Dragons, and then they'll re-swap with Harry, whatever the newest witchcraft thing is, but they'll bring Harry Potter back over and over and over. Yeah, fine. You want to feel that way about Harry Potter? Well, that's because you've been desensitized. But nobody can sit here and make excuses about these books about spellcasting. The satanic sigils on there. You find a lot of those around crime scenes, You never hear that when one of your true crimes are on the news. Yeah, because people don't realize what they're really teaching. Now, these books that you'll get at Barnes & Nobles, they're not going to teach you the true, stuff that are in their satanic teachings that Aleister Crowley teaches about blood sacrifice. Of course not. Some people will get it out of here. But these are gateways to that. And there's lots of gateways. You couldn't even turn around without getting marketed witchcraft. And you can see everybody in there is just at one point or another going to pick one of those books up. Next thing you know, they're New Age. And Christians who do it, they're like, well, I'm still a Christian, I believe in Christ. But they're New Age Christians. They're doing spiritualism, they're doing crystals, they're going to psychics with seeing mediums. And they have no idea. Boy, folks, what an absolute Liberia nightmare. Now, you'll excuse me, there's not enough Imodium to stop the Liberia today. But I wanted to cover that for everybody out there. At the very least, I hope you were educated on what's there. I'm sure you probably had a little bit of a laugh, because sometimes when I get worked up, I know some of you laugh at it, but it's not really funny at all. But I mean, I can't even believe what I'm saying, that we're accepting this in the world, but this is where we're headed. Right? That's why we have to stay vigilant and aware. And if you have kids out there, I do this so that you know. Because remember, you might raise your kid properly in your home. You might have them away from a TV, etc. But when your child is exposed to a child whose parents are in those sections and doing that stuff, your kid is inadvertently exposed to that, right? It's basic common sense, basic psychology, right? So your kid might not be exposed because you're doing a good job parenting. What you got to watch out for is all the people around you, because this is how the elites look at this. They go, well, these people are going to stay in their nests and they're not going to venture out. They're not going to watch this stuff. We know for every 5 people that don't, we'll get 20 people who do. And then we'll get the kid in the schools around them. And even if they take the kids out of the schools, even a nice Christian kid will bring in, because we'll have his parents doing crystals and tarot cards, etc. And then that'll kind of be a lean in. Whatever way they can, they're hitting everybody from every angle. So be aware of this stuff, especially for your children's sake. Unbelievable. I like to do more videos like this, to be honest, in the future, if I ever get out of the house. But I thank everybody again for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you, as always, and your families.
Go to bed.